So yesterday, President Trump and the administration confirmed that the Supreme Leader Khamenei, the Ayatollah, who's been wreaking havoc on his population for decades, is gone. And it looks like a B-2 Spirit stealth bomber flew a 36-hour nonstop mission from Missouri and slammed bunker buster bombs or even JDAMs into the Tehran's leadership compound where the Ayatollah was sitting on his golden crapper. Iran's most fortified nuclear sites look to have been hit as well. Fordo, Natanz. And this is what the B-2 does best. Going in when it's least expected and hitting sensitive sites so no one sees it coming and it's complete shock and awe. This is American air power delivering justice for the Iranian people at this point. Unmatched stealth tech built to penetrate deep into Iran undetected and destroy threats that have menaced the world for decades. Iran's hitting back with missile barrages across the Gulf and at Israel. Oil prices are surging slightly at this point, and the region is on high alert, obviously. Here's some of the latest rhetoric from Tehran. You're gonna love this. The IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the strong armed force of the Ayatollah, has just vowed the most ferocious offensive in history against America and Israel. So again, they're not backing down. They literally are the chihuahua biting at the heels of the pit bull at this point. And they're promising crushing revenge as well. A 3-member interim leadership council has been chosen in Iran for the successor. And then this breaking news coming in just now, U.S. Central Command releases a statement. And I love this. They're doing fact checking on the Iranian regime. So U.S. Central Command said Iran's IRGC claim to have struck the USS Abraham Lincoln with ballistic missiles is a lie. They said the Lincoln was not hit. The missiles launched didn't even come close. The Lincoln continues to launch aircraft in support of CENTCOM's relentless campaign to defend the American people. And if that wasn't enough, there's more breaking news from CENTCOM. I think it's pure brilliance. They continue to troll the regime. The regime is trying to get out as much propaganda as possible, and CENTCOM's not having it. So the Iranian regime claims to have killed 50 U.S. service members so far. Lie. There have been no reported U.S. casualties. The IRGC claims that a U.S. Navy ship was struck by a missile. Lie. No Navy ship has been struck. The Armada is fully operational. The Iran regime is claiming severe damage at multiple U.S. bases. Lie. Damage to U.S. installations was minimal and has not impacted operations. And then this is video from CENTCOM as well. It's showing Tomahawk missiles slam into different sites across Iran. Again, Iran, 2.5 times the size of Texas. It's going to take a lot of metal and a lot of strikes to eventually make the IRGC capitulate. Because again, look at these strikes happening right now. That was on a drone, a 139 Shahed drone. These are mainly on ballistic missiles as well, because again, you got to take down the ballistic missiles. And this could be a war that lasts a couple weeks. So you have to strike down the ability of Iran to retaliate. But February 28th, 2026, let's talk about that actual mission that took place. Operation Epic Fury and Israel's Operation Roaring Lion. The tip of the spear here, again, this is relatively unconfirmed, but I think it's pretty obvious at this point that B-2s are the point of the spear. Spirit stealth bombers blasted out of Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. These beasts flew 36-hour round-trip missions direct from the continental United States. The UK denied forward basing. That's okay, UK. That's okay. You guys can seem like the nice guy to Iran. We just want Iran to think we're nice. Yeah, good luck with that. Iran basically deemed you a terrorist network already. So good luck trying to look good in the eyes of Iran, or whoever you're trying to look good in the eyes to. But hey, the B-2s didn't need your base. It's all good. KC-135 tankers rolled in for support, and a lot of this is based on the flight tracking of the KC-135. But President Trump laid this out on Truth Social. He said this was necessary to dismantle Iran's nuclear program, ballistic missile arsenal, which we've talked about before, almost as important as the nuclear program. Because ballistic missiles, once those get long range enough and good enough, you just ka-chink lock on a nuclear weapon to that ballistic missile, and there you go. Now the ballistic missiles are a problem. And then this is coming out of the aviationists. B-2 Spirit stealth bombers take part in night strikes on Iran. It looks like radio communications on ATC frequencies revealed that 4 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers flew a round-trip mission from the CONUS for night strikes on Iranian targets. Reports suggest the stealth bombers may have joined strikes on Iran flying non-stop from Missouri in a grueling 36-hour mission. So this shows the scalpel. This shows the silent, invisible scalpel that rolls in first with those silent corridors created by the F-22s. But let's talk about Iran's side. Their military is built for asymmetric warfare. Thousands of ballistic missiles, which we've seen them launch. A lot of the different interceptors have been very effective at taking those down, like a lot of the systems that are protecting Israel and protecting the different carriers right now. So again, drone swarms are going to be a focus for Iran, proxy militias across the region, and a layered but aging integrated air defense system that is likely in complete tatters at this point right now. They launched those Shahed drones mainly, and they've gotten some shrapnel damage in other areas. There's also reports of an intercepting system hitting one of those drones and then some of the shrapnel from that falling and causing a casualty in the Gulf states. But Patriot batteries and allied interceptors are dialed in at this point. There's proxies out there as well. They're kind of like lurking in the background, kind of waiting, because again, the regime is in tatters right now. So the regime might be thinking, how do we actually get these militias? How do we get these proxies here to try to protect us? Because they know they're on the chopping block. Even this new Ayatollah knows he's on the chopping block. What do we call him? The new Ayatollah? Or we call him the not gonna work here anymore Ayatollah? And then potentially those B-2s dropping GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators on the nuclear sites like Fordo and Natanz to basically just cause catastrophic collapse throughout that entire area. Enrichment cascades and centrifuges destroyed would be the goal there. But you don't need the GBU-57 for the Ayatollah's palace. Hitting him on his golden crapper while he's sitting there in his whitey tighties, complaining to his girlfriend about his wife. You don't need the GBU-57. That might actually be too much overkill that goes down into the earth and doesn't actually cause damage in the actual offices and palace itself. You'd probably just go with a GBU-31. Those are those 2,000-pound JDAMs. You can adapt them to have a little bit of penetration capability if you need to go in and punch through a few different stories of the palace. Lots of adaptability there. It looks like Iran has about 200 casualties with 700 injured, and that's coming in from Iranian Red Crescent sources. Also, the propaganda machine in Iran is claiming civilian losses. We don't know the validity of that, but that's their claim. They're saying a girls' school in Manab was hit. But again, I've seen this firsthand. A lot of these terrorist-minded type people like the Ayatollah and the Inner Circle and the IRGC hardliners they're going to shield themselves with civilians. So likely even building C2 command and control structures underneath schools, underneath hospitals. I mean, I saw it firsthand. I saw insurgents do that in Afghanistan where they basically would bring the village children with them as they went through the village because they knew they were being tracked by an F-15E or an MQ-9 Reaper drone. That's just the mentality, the sick mentality of this terrorist insurgent mindset. And that looks like it was alive and well in the Ayatollah's Inner Circle, likely alive and well also in the IRGC, or at least in a lot of the hardliners of the IRGC. But this operation showcases why the U.S. military remains unmatched, and the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber is the heart at that. Striking deep, striking in the middle of the night, and striking silently. This is the backbone of these strikes. Looks like 4 to 6 aircraft. Each of them are capable of carrying up to 2 of those GBU-57 max ordnance penetrators. Those are those 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs that can penetrate over 200 feet each. Hardened concrete earth, no problem. Speeds on impact exceeding 800 miles per hour and detonating with massive explosive force to obliterate deeply buried targets like Pickaxe Mountain that could have been struck as well. 36-hour missions is the B-2's bread and butter. F-22 Raptors escorting those B-2s for top cover, and KC-135 and KC-46 tankers supporting across the Atlantic and Mediterranean. Naval assets fired 38 plus Tomahawk cruise missiles to open corridors and take down the IADs as well. But you don't want to give the Ayatollah too much warning. So if these different sites, these surface-to-air missile sites, were taken out immediately, the Ayatollah might have been able to scramble into his bunker underneath the city and be the rat. That's what he's called by the local population there, because he scrambles underneath the city and then you can't find him for weeks. So that wouldn't be good as well. So potentially these B-2s rolled in first just with the F-22s creating those silent corridors to not tip off any any members of the IRGC to call their buddy the Ayatollah. Likely the B-2s just went in with that silent corridor and the F-22s paving the way. Also, we've got carrier assets, F-35C, Lightning IIs, F-18Es and Fs blasting off the USS Abraham Lincoln. As we saw, the USS Abraham Lincoln is providing strike and combat air patrol power, likely with planned targets blasting off every half hour or so. Israel also committed, went all in, 200 jets, F-35I Adirs, custom Israeli electronic warfare jets, F-15Is from Israel, F-15Es from the US, and then CENTCOM's Task Force Scorpion strike debuted Lucas. That's a one-way attack drone. It's an upgraded Shahed 136 derivative. Oh, cool. Iran, you want to launch your drone swarm against us? Awesome. We'll take your drone swarm and we'll double it, and then we'll let you deal with that. So the B-2s are uniquely suited to strike those nuclear sites like Fordo and Natanz with a GBU-57, but the decapitation hit on the leadership compound in the heart of Tehran, where it's said that the Ayatollah was chairing a meeting of top officials, likely came from long-range pinpoint missiles that could have even come from Israel. It could have been Tomahawk missiles, and then it could have been teamed up with other weapons on the B-2. Because the GBU-57, that's just a little bit too much firepower. It's like bringing a 50 caliber to a handgun fight. Like, this is just a little bit too much. So what could have also been dropped by the B-2 would be those GBU-31 2,000-pound bombs, but also pinpoint missiles coming in from the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, potentially those coming in the opening 30 seconds to pin everybody down and make sure they couldn't leave that meeting, ensuring surgical precision without needing that massive penetration weapon. You don't need that when you're going up against a surface site. And then overall, these tactics are textbook. SEED, suppression of enemy air defenses, for you acronym lovers. Dialed in to level 11 perfection. AGM-88 HARM missiles, and then F-35s launching glide weapons. JASSMs, joint air-to-surface standoff missiles, destroying radars and SAMs. Where do we see this go from here? Well, let's talk about the 4D chess situation, because likely what we'll see out of Iran is the fact that they're going to have one-off systems pull themselves out from fortified areas and launch ballistic missiles. So those are going to need to be targeted as well. Specifically, the F-16CJ is very uniquely suited to do that. And I'll do a follow-on video on the F-16CJ and the likely missions that it's doing right now. But it's pretty clear at this point, when those B-2s slip through undetected, they can deliver those earth-shattering payloads that satisfy every time. So for the 4D chess section, strike the head of the snake, strike hard, and disrupt command and control by creating chaos so the enemy collapses from within. Think about the pandemonium and the panic right now in the inner circle of Iran. They're still sending out propaganda, but they know their days are limited. If they don't turn in the keys right now and do a full surrender, they're likely going to go bye-bye here in the next few days. President Trump and the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, have calculated that eliminating or isolating leadership, gutting the nuclear infrastructure, and shattering C2 would ignite internal fractures and uprisings while ending the nuclear threat for good. So those B-2s direct from the US mainland, after the UK said, no, we don't want you here. We want Iran gone too. Like, we don't want to get hit by their ballistic missiles, but can you guys just take the heat? That's a little bit too much heat for us. But this sends a crystal clear message to the UK as well. America can step in and protect you and doesn't even need your permission to defend its interests or its allies. So it's worth being said that Diego Garcia is being used for, it looks like, the F-16CJs, but the UK has said they don't want the US to use Fairford to fly combat missions out of. So very interesting, where they're trying to play both sides, where the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, already called the UK a terrorist organization. So at this point, UK, you might as well just have a backbone and not worry about what they think about you, because they're not exactly putting you on their Christmas card list. But the bigger objective here is regime change without U.S. troops on the ground. Use overwhelming air power to set the conditions for Iranians to finish the job. If the IRGC splinters and protests explode, this could be game over for the current regime. So here's what we could see in a hypothetical situation. Struggles and power vacuums in the inner circle will likely happen as they start to turn on themselves. So the moderates within the actual party itself will likely start to get more of a foothold. And at this point, there could be limited special operations maneuvers that go in and strike down the top leadership, or just continue to pound them with these extremely advanced weapons. What do you think? Where do you think we go from here? Do you think internal fracture will actually take down the regime in Tehran? Let me know in the comments below. And then if you want to see me do a live every week, right now, pretty much every day, specifically focus on Iran, join the Max Ready Room. Click the link in the description below. Join the lives. I'll see you there. And then follow me on X. Follow me on Instagram. I'm posting there pretty much every day. Thanks for watching, guys. Click the next video that pops up right here. This is Ryan, also known as Max Afterburner, signing off.